is it at? Okay.
That's the question everybody wants. Why wasn't Wayne there? That's the question everybody wants.
I talked to Wayne yesterday, man, and I talked to Wayne the morning before, right? You know what I mean?
Okay, so both of these guys are saying they talked to Wayne.
The morning before the verses, and Shorty wasn't feeling good, man. You know what I mean? So because he had a concert at Dre's the same night, and he canceled that as well. You know what I mean? And Swiss was, even hurt behind it, right? You know what I mean? Because for real, that's the reason Swiss pulled the trigger on it. You know what I mean? Because Wayne, agreed,
I heard Wayne orchestrated the whole thing.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, come on. I mean,
Now now we're hearing two different stories, but they're talking to the same person. They're talking to Wayne. Ice from the Joe Budden podcast says Wayne told him, I was never doing that shit. BG's saying that, Wayne orchestrated the whole thing, but he felt sick.
Shorty, you know what I'm saying? Like, Shorty, Shorty, he muscle, right? You know what I'm saying? He got muscle, right? So, but, yeah, man, I think it was, Shorty wasn't feeling good because he definitely was supposed to be there. You know what I mean? So, he told me that, he wasn't feeling good and, he had to go to the hospital or something like that. You know what I mean? So, people be thinking that it was, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I told him, man, we ain't spring chickens no more, man. You know what I mean? So, you got to make sure, man, your health and, you know what I'm saying, in order and, get your rest, man. You've been running 35 years.
Okay. Shout out to BG, shout out to Ice from the Joe Budden podcast, and even shout out to Wayne. I will say this, and this is why I said, the game of telephone is so interesting because oftentimes, and I love go sources battle. I love sources battles because I like to talk to the most direct and obvious sources. But there is many times that different people could talk to the same person and hear different things. So anytime there's sources being given out, Ack gonna be there because Ack got some good sources too. Now, based on the shit I say, you probably could guess who the source is. But, I mentioned this on the Charleston White, stream. Wayne, number one, 100% was supposed to be there. I'll give you some more details and again, unless someone just intentionally lied to me, they're the only persons that would be in these rooms that would know these actual things. Wayne agreed to do this with the stipulation of, I don't trust Birdman. Give me my own contract. Everybody else on Birdman contract, or they were contracted, but it's really on some Birdman shit, right? Wayne don't trust Birdman with the money. Let's run it like this, okay? He had a contract with Complex / Versus, which is being distributed through Apple Music and whatever the case is. You could kind of already guess where my sources might have came from, right? Well, whatever. Let's keep it going. They got the contract. By the way, I hear, and this is where I'm going to bring in the second person. Money is wired. So this idea that he ain't supposed to be there, you're not getting a check if you're not supposed to be there. If you didn't sign a contract, all of that. You had a separate contract. You agreed to it. And the morning of, it is told to the people running the event, Wayne is not doing it. Now, that therein lies where you want to believe why he isn't doing it. So the idea that he was never doing it, that's a stretch. He was. There's a contract. Money was wired. That got pulled back because he didn't do it. Why he didn't do it, BG's saying that Wayne told him he was sick. Right? The reason I heard he didn't do it, and supposedly it was a manager. It was a manager it was blamed on kind of like the manager and the people around him, supposedly. That the idea of the verses, as it got closer to the event, Wayne and his management flat out basically said, I don't want to be up there with them old niggas. Why? Wayne still believes he's a guy in current hip hop. Not saying he's not, but being up there with those older rappers is going to make him look like a legacy act and make him look aged and make him look like he's not currently dominating the marketplace. And for that reason, he ain't want to be up on that stage. So he was down to do it despite whatever he might have with Birdman because he was getting his money separately. He's getting his bag separately. But as it gets closer to the event, he's like, bro, I don't want to be up there with them old folks. Because reasonably, Wayne is like, is Wayne 40 yet? I think he's like 37, 38. This is what's explained to me. Wayne and his management team believes he's still one of them guys. And he's still in that mode of being a prime. He's a prime artist. He's not a legacy act. And he ain't, and the verbiage told to me, he ain't want to be up there with them old niggas. And not disrespecting them, but he didn't want to be seen as being old because of what he currently got going on that he feel he's competing currently. Right? So he cancels. And then to address what BG said, where BG says he went to the hospital, from what I hear, I don't know if he went to the hospital, but from what I hear, as per the contract, if you don't perform in Las Vegas at Complex Con, you cannot do an after party, you cannot perform at all. Hence, his performance that night had to be canceled. Okay? Oh, Wayne's 43? Oh, I'm sorry. Apologize. But they're saying that because if you cancel that first event, usually like when you're getting big bags like that, like if you're about to come do an arena, you can't cancel the arena to do 10 after parties. Like, especially if Live Nation pays you. They're like, what? Like, we spent money promoting you in this market. Like, them clubs, Dreas did not, this is business, people. Dreas did not spend money, not that they kind of need to necessarily because Wayne, but they didn't spend no money marketing that Wayne will be in that market. Complex Con versus Thriller, well, it's not Thriller no more. Network, whatever company that owns it. Now, they spent the bread to promote that this thing is going to happen that we believe Wayne's going to be a part of, that Wayne books after parties for. So, contractually wise, if you don't do that, you can't do the rest. So he had to cancel that other shit. That's what I was told. Then, I know some people don't like it. I heard NBA Youngboy was also contracted. That's the Birdman call. Birdman, that Cash Money is his. He could tell who he want on that stage. So of course Wayne's a no-brainer. But NBA Youngboy was contracted, and from what I was told, he was contracted to do one song at the end of Versus, and then he was supposed to come back out at the end of Yeet and Friends that day, and he was supposed to have his own set. He was contracted, and just like Wayne, they sent the money to NBA Youngboy's team. That's what was told to me. They also had to pull that back, and the reason why Youngboy didn't do it had nothing to do with the other stuff. If you don't know, he's on one of the hottest tours possible. That was one of the only day off. And I've seen a lot of Youngboy's people, like, they were there. A lot of Youngboy's people flew there. And, you know, Birdman's on tour with Youngboy. So they came there. That was a day off. They said Youngboy was kind of tired, and he was just like, yo, bro, I can't do it. Which makes sense. The dude is performing like a maniac every night. And, you know, of course, maybe to some people it might mean a lot, but it's YB. Like, he don't need to YB could do a versus with anybody. And also, him just performing at a show with Yeet and them other people or after them, he already has a sold-out tour. Why would he leave on his day off just to go basically do a festival, you know? So he supposedly told him that he was too tired, he couldn't do it. And Wayne supposedly was on some shit like, man, I don't want to be up there with them old niggas. That's the line I keep hearing. Man, I don't want to be up there with them old niggas. Cause I ain't old. That's what I kept hearing. So I don't know. Maybe it's a mix of everybody's sources, but I know the source I got. It was communicated to them under certain pretext, which I've told you guys already. Okay, enough of that. Shout out to Wayne. Shout out to Cash Money. Shout out to No Limit. No Limit winning actually reminds me, and I think, no disrespect to them, their irrelevance after like I came into the United States, because I didn't know too much of their songs. Yo, I was in the crowd. Yo, them old ladies was jamming. I'm like, I didn't really know these songs like that. Why I came over here in like 2000, bro. Cash Money been popping since the 80s or 90s to fucking now. So like, if I didn't live through the moments of certain Cash Money records, I got quickly caught up because their reign continued. So you went back to listen to them. No Limit kind of fizzled out. Like, no disrespect to them in terms of mainstream popularity. And I was a kid, so I didn't really. So some of them records, like, of course I knew the big records, but some of them other records that would play it, man, I see them ladies. Them ladies was going. It was some old ladies with the, you know them little, you know your auntie be having that little Jerry curl. It's not even Jerry curl. That little the short wig. But anyway, whatever, man. Let's move on. Let's get to